Good morning, Ian, and to our viewers. Welcome to Side Up E002. Thank you all for the vigorous love you've given to our previous episode, now hitting over 1,000 views, which we love to see. This week we'll be talking about Cardiff, the event we covered last time. Talking about the men's session, the women's session. We've got a little shout out to our international teams, and then we'll go over our technical events, our training tips, our physio side of things, and then a little guess the player section at the end. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, before we start talking about the Cardiff recap, we just want to give a quick shout out to our international teams out there this week. We had Joaquin Bello winning the King of the Court event in Hamburg, and we had Issa and Freddie getting silver in the Futures in Wuhan. Huge results for our international teams. Round of applause. But yeah, on to Cardiff. Ian?
Yeah, so an amazing event that we had both on the men's side and the women's side. Excellent, like really well-run event. We're just going to go over kind of some of the results. So on the men's side, we've got kind of the back-to-back champs and other big names. Cole, JJ, Nico, Harry, Andrew. None of them are present.
Mm.
So that opens the playing field to, we still have some big names present, obviously, Sam Dunbavin, the Morgan brothers. Um, you know, the brothers ended up playing against each other in the final, John and
Yeah.
Rob. Both of them have also played with the silver medalist Tom Faulknerham before, but Tom decided to partner up with Rob, and John decided to go back with Sam.
Mm.
Sam, a little bit of a not a Cinderella story, but shows you what perseverance and having a
Diamond
fighting
in the
spirit can
rough.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
getting silver the past 2 years, and now finally being able to get that Welsh trophy, as he mentioned last week. And I guess, another surprise team that was quite a low seed and worked their way up. Andy and David,
Yeah.
um, quite a low seed, but ended up working their way up to fourth place after being defeated by Luca and Lewis in the bronze medal match.
Yeah.
Which leads us on to our Kids Be Cooking. On our men's side, there are there were five under 18s, I think, in day two.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
Luca and Lewis, you'll probably know them better, but I'll just go over them. Luca and Lewis came third. Um, they are from Wales and Brighton.
Yeah.
We have the two Northerners, Mr. Max Makowski and Josh Cosgrove,
Yeah.
coached by the legendary beach officer, Pete Makowski. And then we have Tomo Iwata, deep dish local, teaming up with Sam Yang, and they ended up beating Connor and Matt in the
Mm.
round of 16, or no, it's double of them, so it's round of 12, I think.
12, yeah,
Round of
yeah,
12,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I
And
mean,
eventually making it to day two. So
yeah,
lots of young talent there.
yeah.
Anything you want to say about them? You
Yeah, I
definitely know
mean,
them better.
yeah, I mean, I know all these kids really well. Like, I've known Tommy for a while. I've known Lewis for as long as I've played volleyball. And it's been wonderful. Especially Luca has made such a progression in like the last few years. It's wonderful
Yeah.
to see. And then, but with Sam Yang, funnily enough, he has played a part in my story as well. He took me on to win my first two-star at Leighton. Um, I think it was 3 years ago now. But yeah, crazy. So it's nice to see he's still doing the same thing, taking on these juniors,
Yeah.
uh, and being some pretty, heavyweight teams. Max and Josh as well, knocked me out. But also, going on to win, beat Carol and David, Carol and Rory, then Andy and David. Like, you know, all these teams that are like, punching above their weight, some could say, like so scrappy, going for it. I love it so much. Like Andy and David as well, going from first round elim into, second they got through, then losing to Luke and Lewis, yeah, into the knocked into the right side. You got to win so many more games. I think it's just like, it's crazy. Um,
Exactly.
fitness from a fitness perspective, um, and a strength perspective to keep playing that many games and to just get through is just outrageously good. Leading on to, probably the most significant junior team, Luca and Lewis getting that bronze medal. They did not have an easy route to get there. They had the first seed, Marius and Cesare, which they took down in the quarters, which is just a crazy outcome. Because Marius and Cesare won the Bridlington Four-Star last year, beating JJ and Hayden. I remember. So I think that's really shows what people are capable of. Luca and Lewis showing they're not a team to be messed around with, and they're out for results. So next time see them on a sign-up sheet, I'll be panicking. But if you
Yeah,
had to pick one
exactly.
team to shout out, who would you pick one team? Who'd you go for?
For me, I think it's Sam and Tomo. Sam has his fair share of experience, and like you said, he's picking up these young guns and showing them, what the four stars are like. I think they've done a really good job. I refed their round of 12 game actually. It was really close. They fought really hard, and Sam just has that kind of, I don't want to say lighthearted spirit, but he plays the game because he enjoys it, right? Same with
Yeah,
Tomo. They play the game because they enjoy it. They're not overly obsessed with winning. They're not like, oh, I have to like they're not stressed when they play. They look relaxed. They look like they're having fun. And it's just so fun to watch.
yeah. I think if I had to pick
How about
one
you?
team, yeah, I mean, one team that I actually really enjoy watching is Dave Panner and Harry Sanford.
Mhm.
Because if you guys know them, they are all wonderful guys, and like, even though I think they lost to Marius and Cesare eventually, they took them to a third set, and you could hear Dave and Harry both screaming from all the way across Cardiff. It's so fun. Like, Harry is a lovely guy, and Dave has done so much work with the community. Now coaching for Northern Ireland. Honestly, just such a wonderful playing style, so springy and like scrappy. You can really see the passion when they're out on court. And yeah, that's my standout team. I just love a team I can enjoy watching. But onto the women's.
Yeah, so a very similar story where last year's champs, Kirsty and Sydney, are not present. So Kirsty, I think, is resting a little for the future stuff that she's about to play. Sydney's back home in the US. One of the silver medalists was there, and the other one, Anna Kurek, also not present. Um, so her partner from last year, Patricia, teaming up with Danae, but just short of making it to day two this year. So quite similar to the men's, where we have some of the big names from last year not present this year. And yeah, even though Kirsty was not here, we do look to get her on here soon to
Yes.
share some stories about her experiences traveling overseas, what it was like playing in the US. And yeah, over to the podium, we've got the first seed claiming and securing their spot as first seed. Vary came third last year, and Lynn, with her Commonwealth partner Mel, came fifth. And this year they've brought it together and came first. Gerda and Lorena, the silver medalists from this year, they came fifth last year. And again, same with the story of Sam Dunbavin. It just shows you what, hard work and perseverance can do when you don't get discouraged by your quarterfinal losses or even your
Yeah.
round of 16 losses. You
Yeah.
can't just say, I'm going to break up with my partner because he's not passing well enough,
Exactly.
he or she, or like, you stick together, you work things out, you train hard, you work hard, both on court and both on the sand and in the gym. And then in the following years, or even in the next few following tournaments, that's when you'll see the results come through, is after when you put that work in. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, some other sorry about that.
Yeah.
Some other talking points, I guess. We have the 24th seed, Maeve in Georgia, beating the first seed in the third round, I believe, of day one. Second,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
that's a huge upset.
third round, huge upset. Maeve, obviously, we all know her. She played last year. I think very similar scenario last year where no one knew who she was last year. Like who's this
Who's
girl?
Maeve?
Who's Maeve?
Who's
And
balling?
then
Like,
she,
yeah.
yeah, and then this year she's picked up Georgia. So this year people are asking the same question: Who's Georgia? I think she's a setter or a
Indoor player.
indoor player, and
Yeah.
ending up coming through and taking down the first seed just like that. And then the final was close. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a final.
Yeah.
Um,
Crazy
mentioning
foot
both the
save.
men's, yeah, crazy foot save. Like you said in the last episode, very scrappy, very techy tournament. Both men's and women's finals went to three sets. And yeah, it's a sorry tale for Anna and Lena, Anna Toomey and Elena Forpani, coming fourth both years, just short of a medal. But again, that's when you gotta put in the work, get in the gym, get on the sand, and put in that extra mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could be there next year. Who knows?
Yeah. So, some new faces. These two you know quite well because obviously you go to uni with them. Maya and
Yes.
Izzy.
Yes.
tell us. So my I used to play with Laura, who was also there this last weekend.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit more about them.
Yeah, I mean they're a new face, teaming up for BUCS as well, and I think they're playing for club champs, both in Nottingham, in the coming week or weeks next weekend. But yeah, no, they're a lot of passion out on court. I think they were. I was in the car with them on the way to the event, and they were so like, oh God, we've really got to win our first game, or I don't know if we can do it. And I was like, I was in the back seat. I was like, guys, you got this. Come on. It's tough because I think they were playing against another one of my, lovely people that I know, Sai. And watching that game, it was, another dogfest out on court. I think it was three sets, like tie break in the second and third. It was like, ooh, so much passion, like from both teams, but particularly, I think they haven't had too long to get it together as well because we're still early in the season, and they're a couple of new faces that many people haven't seen. I mean, Izzy, I didn't meet until this year. Maya has got some street cred, playing for CV and whatnot. But Izzy's also out here balling, showing indoor people are not to be taken for granted. Like they can get out there as much as we'll all serve the indoor person. They may come back and just bounce on you. So lessons learned. But yeah. Um, and then,
Especially on that Cardiff stand.
oh God, yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Mhm.
Um, but speaking of another interesting name in the junior side, Molly Quinn, uh, representing, her home grounds in Croyd, um, taking out Beth Morgan in the first round in three sets in the first game. But onlookers would have noticed a few things which you want to lead on to, Ian. This is your side
Yeah,
of things.
so she did tell me that she tore her right labrum, which is why,
Beth,
yeah, Beth, which is why she was serving underarm and playing with her left. And she still got some good results over the weekend. Didn't make it to day two, but just shows you what, kind of good ball control and game IQ can take you. Like even
yeah,
with your left,
perseverance.
all you have to do is just poke it this way or poke it that way. You
Yeah,
see the right spot on the court,
yeah.
and the ball's in the sand.
Yeah, it seems to be a trend in their family because Rob, her brother, has also he had a few, I think, shoulder injuries over the season, and he was starting to hit with his left hand, and
Yeah,
now he's bouncing left better than some could do on their strong arm. So,
yeah,
it seems to be a
exactly.
trend in their family that they can use, everything and anything for that ball control. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you wanna, what about
Uh,
your shout out for the women's? Who would you pick as your standout team?
so we haven't mentioned them, but I have my women's shout out as the 16 seed, Graciela and Macy. So they attend all these, deep dish camps. They train really hard. I think Graciela is training in Crystal Palace now. Macy's home court is Yellow Wave, I believe. And they worked their way from 16th seed all the way through to day two, and they finished fifth, taking down. Um, they had a really close game against Lynn and Vary, which I watched. And then they also had a pretty good game against Ella and Franchi, which they won. So, again, it shows we love an underdog story. We love a Cinderella story coming working your way from a bottom seed to a day two finish, So shout out to them. How about
Mm.
you?
See, I'm actually split between two. I
Mm,
hate to be boring, but one is Georgia and Maeve because you gotta love an underdog story.
mhm.
24th seed up to
Yeah,
third.
up to third.
Chef's kiss. Like I
Yeah.
love that sort of thing. I love being an underdog myself, and I think that sometimes it shows that the seeding isn't always reflective of the skill.
Mhm.
Again, as it's early in the season, people's points aren't there. But what is there, regardless of that, is if you got that low seeding, you're going to be playing tougher teams. Like you said, knocking out the first seed in the third round, like it shows. Don't mess with me, you know. But my
Exactly.
second team is, some of my personal favorites as well. Lorena and Gerda, like wonderful
Mm,
people. I've known them for years now. First met them out in Alicante training with
mm,
Sandra Bavin. Uh, I love the passion that comes from them. It made me laugh because when I saw them on day one, I hadn't seen them for a long time. I was speaking to them. I was like, "Oh yeah, blah, 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 the formalities, like nice to meet you." And then we started talking about. I was like, "There's this book I've been reading recently, which is called The Confident Mind by Dr. Nate Zinsser.
mm.
Wonderful book." And I was like describing it, implicitly to them, and they were like, "Oh, is it this? Oh, yeah, we read the exact same thing." And I was like, "Oh, wonderful." So I think it's really inspiring the way that they also work on their mental game
Yeah, for
off
sure.
the court, which I think is an integral part for all athletes to work on. Like no matter how good you get your ball control, if your head goes, you're probably going to lose the set, if
Yeah.
not the game. Um, and especially in those high pressure situations, you've got to be able to back yourself. And I just think that that is a really overlooked aspect of the volleyball game, especially on
Mhm.
beach, is people may see it as less professional in some senses, which I would, I'd battle on every front and say
Yeah.
that is not the case. But it is super important not to leave that, untapped.
Yeah, like Sam said last week, the way he coaches is to find the best you in those crucial moments, how you make the right decision. That decision-making choice and then the ability to execute is, they go hand in hand. And I was watching the Out of System podcast a couple years ago as well. They did mention that like at the highest level, obviously they're talking more about indoor. They do have their fair share of outdoor beach and grass volleyball, but I assume they're mostly talking about indoor, where as a setter, as an outside, as a libero, like your most important skill once you get to that high level, because everyone can set a ball into a hoop, everyone can bounce a ball. It's in those crucial moments. How do you make that decision? Do I go line here? Do I go cross on beach? Do I shoot high line? Like when it's 15-15 in the third set, where serving, what block do I put up? What do I show them? Like it's again that decision making, that's the toughest skill at the highest level.
Yeah.
So yeah, that wraps up our tournament recap. Now we're going to talk a bit more about the event itself. I'm going to start off by saying, hats off to everyone at Cardiff, everyone at Fireball. It was a really, really, really well-run event. All the matches kind of went on time. They weren't scheduled, but nothing, we weren't staying till 9 p.m. playing matches that needed to happen. Everything was punctual, everything was smooth. The communication was very clear. Shout out to Danny Mulford, the technical director, Ines Gomez, Sam Dunbavin, the other faces of Fireball Beach Volleyball, and also the Cardiff guys who actually manage the facility and run the facility year round, Michael Constantinu and Carl Harwood. So very well put together event, a good collaboration between Fireball and Cardiff Beach Volleyball. So very well done. The double elim board was very clear, very easy to follow. It was you could see the bracket on this side, the winner goes here, the loser goes there. Um, so yeah, overall, very, very well done to everyone who was a part of making that happen.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree. I think a wonderful event. And I think we saw, in person and online, you could see the engagement with something that we mentioned in our interview with Sam, which is just a brand new concept of the tournament on the second day, the King of the Court, for
mhm,
our people who get eliminated on the first day. And I think that adds to, not only is it an incentive for people to stay for day two, but also it's just a wonderful way to keep athletes getting their money's worth, um, as well as getting those extra reps in. Like
mhm.
and opportunities to, play with, new people against people in a fun format and just sort of chill and enjoy the good vibes. As well as, get to watch the finals, the quarterfinals, semifinals, whatever. Um, but yeah, no, wonderful event, especially with, on-site MCs on the mic. You got
Mhm,
AJ, Zach Jarma, Dave Silver, some wonderful names. AJ coming straight off of doing commentating for the Australian
mhm.
Futures, was it? Yeah, he was out
Yeah,
there for a while. Wonderful guy. But yeah, great commentating, bring a real professional sense to that
yeah,
big center court stage.
yeah. And like Sam said, they really made it a players event, with the barbecue. Again, shout out to Nick on the grill. It was a really good players event. Like Fireball really wanted to prioritize the athletes who were competing. We had player event badges, which I don't think they're actually used for any security measures, but it just felt cool, to have that badge around my neck. And also the King of the Court, it's kind of like a showcase event that even the spectators or other players can watch in between the semifinals and the bronze medal games. And also that like it's always a hard thing to manage players because sometimes you have one semifinal happening before the other, and that means one team is playing the bronze medal match cold and the other team is playing straight off. So having the King of the Court also helps out with the scheduling,
Yeah.
in that it offers a showcase event and it offers the competitors who are still in the tournament adequate rest and enough time to regroup and prepare for the bronze medal match.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And adding on to the player tags with the player badges,
Mm.
having the QR code to add your photos to an album is a fantastic idea because, like, when everyone's done with the tournament, everyone's gone home. My first thought is, where are the photos?
Yeah.
where's my next Instagram post? Where's
Mhm.
my whatever? Where's my new wallpaper going to come from? So I
Mm.
think that's a really smart way to keep it, in one place. Everyone knows where it is, because then it's not just, I'm sending a random DM to the first person who posts it on their story. It's like, oh, where'd you get this
Yeah.
from? But no, I think it's a great idea.
I didn't even notice that actually. I'm gonna have
Really?
to
Oh,
grab
yeah,
grab
give it a
mine back
scan.
out and give it a scan. Yeah. Do have to say though, the scoreboards are a bit confusing. All
That
of a
would be,
sudden,
yeah,
you're
an
stuck
area
inside
of
that 13, 15.
room for improvement.
Yeah.
Possibly would be our feedback. Yeah, I saw a lot of confusion with those scoreboards. Um, I think that would be one possible improvement for next year.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And I remember when I was playing in 2023, I'm not sure what it was last year because I didn't play last year, but in 2023, when I was playing the semi and the bronze medal match, they actually got Denise Austin to come on and commentate. So this year, I think the live stream, the quality of the video was a bit higher, and they had a digital scoreboard rather than a camera on the
yeah,
live scoreboard. Um, so I think it would have been nice to bring back commentary for the live stream, which we definitely have the personnel to do, maybe not the technical equipment to do so, but it would be nice to bring that back in the future. Um, Maybe some other fun ideas would be to have like a recovery corner, foam rollers, yoga mats, massage guns. I don't know, just an idea. And for some reason, the music went off on day two, but I'm sure there's a justifiable explanation.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
Again, we're nitpicking here. Like
Yeah.
overall, the event was,
Nitpicking. Exactly.
event was fantastic. What an opening to the
Mhm.
season.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are just things, if we had to, these are our suggestions again.
Mhm.
And I think the final one, which would be awesome,
Mhm.
would be a photo booth, funding dependent.
Mhm. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
people, everyone loves the photo booth. Um,
Just that
but
extra
yeah,
addition to create memories. And but yeah, again, very, very well done to Fireball, Cardiff Beach Volleyball, all the photographers, all the people on behind the scenes working around the clock to make that event happen. So that leads us into our next event, which is Bucks Beach and Club Champs. So for those who don't know, Bucks is British University College Sport. George will be competing in both Bucks and in Club Champs
yep.
for the University of Nottingham, I think, which is the only club to do both.
Indeed. However, I will actually be playing for my home club, Richmond Volleyball, in club championships.
Okay.
But yeah, no, we do have. I'll be playing for Nottingham in the Shield for
Hmm.
Bucks, and
Hmm.
then I will be competing for Richmond in the club championships.
Mm.
However, Nottingham does have I think, Div 2 club champs team. I think they might have two or three, as well as a very strong women's Div 1 team that will be
Okay.
entering.
And
But yeah.
what is Shield, George? Tell
So
us.
the way Bucks works is we have the championship, highest division, the trophy, which is the second division, and the shield, which is the third division.
Hmm.
And the way that it works is if you win one division one year, you either have to be in that division or higher for the next year. So for example, Rob Morgan, my upperclassman, he won the championship as a fresher last year in his first year, and now he has to play in the championship for the remainder of his time as a university student. He can't go lower. Um, but yeah, that's how it works over a 2-day
Okay.
event, which will be next week, which we
Nice.
are all super pumped for. Which leads into Club Champs, another wonderful event with some really, really exciting teams.
Yeah, so obviously we've just finished Cardiff and we're releasing episodes every 2 weeks. And in these 2 weeks before the next tournament, uh, people should be revving up for club champs. Those who aren't in uni are getting ready for club champs. Those who are playing in both, like yourself, are doing as much as they can to, prepare themselves for these two tournaments. And what should those training sessions look like? How often should you train in these 2 weeks? What should you be focusing on, George?
So in these 2 weeks, what I'd be advising people to do is to, train regularly as much as you can, but not overtrain. In the weeks up to competition, I see it as a rule of like, 10%. You don't go 10% above what you would normally do, and you don't go 10% below. But you stay within that margin. You don't want to go any further than that. Like in the gym or, training wise, intensity. You should be working on your technical stuff. Of course, you always want to improve your technique. Like even this weekend, I was training, working on, the smallest of things, like my positioning on core, passing through my shoulders rather than through my platform. Um, and I would just recommend, whilst you want to get your technical stuff down, you also want to work on getting your reps. So, I mean, as the legend Mushy told us in Portugal, alongside your normal technique training, you're going to want to have at least one or two like low level rep sessions a week. Just, very simple toss a free ball, pass it, set it again, and just, standing high line over into the line or whatnot, or you cut or you jumbo. But yeah, really low level, just improve that ball control. Like I can't stress how much in events the ball control difference between teams becomes so apparent. Like especially when you get later into the day in the third sets, and your technique is holding you up, but your ball control, you might go a lot too far, and you got to flick in with your platform to make an
Yeah.
adjustment. And that all comes from the ball control. Then you get your chicken wings and your whatnot.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like you're gonna want to get those reps in. Um, and simulate match demands as well. You want to get your gameplay in. If you can find people to play matches against to prep for the tournament, I always do think that it's a good idea to train slightly above what you would do in a match. So rather than going realistic and giving, if you're playing uh, a 2-star or a 3-star, maybe rather than giving like a toss ball, you would have someone standing on a box and actually shooting the cut, shooting the line over, so that you're, training upwards,
Mhm.
making things
Yeah.
tougher for you in training. So in match, it'll actually be easier. And this is something that I get to do when I'm coaching my guys down in Nottingham. Is I will get them to stand at the baseline with their heel touching the line. I'll be at the net with the ball, and I tell them you have 4 steps to get to the front of the net to dig this ball. And I'll toss the ball, and they will have 4 steps to get there. And they can do it. Like 4 steps is, I think, the minimum amount of steps it takes to get to that net. Um, which really shows, people taking 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever steps it is to get to a cut shot. You don't need
Yeah.
it. You just need, yeah, yeah. You just need like 4 really strong steps to get there. So again, yeah, that's just a general advice. Train up, and then so that's for this week, and then next week leading into the competition. I mean, I'm if you're doing both club champs and bucks, maybe give yourself a rest day or two because
Yeah.
4 days straight you're gonna be cooked. I know I won't be training the day before.
Yeah.
Maybe a light gym session for some activation, but yeah, no, I think train before. If you're getting down there early, which I would recommend always, acclimatize yourself to the environment, to the sand, get a session in beforehand so you know what you're going to be playing, and you're not just turning up on the day, finding out, oh God, the sand's a bit deeper than I expected, or oh, the net's a bit low, a bit high, whatever. Get there, figure out how it's going to be, the wind, get used to things. Because if you're training in London, like, you're not going to get that much wind. And then you go out to Bournemouth and it's coastline and you're like, oh, that crosswind, how the hell do I
Yeah.
play in this?
Sure.
So yeah, I think always get there early to acclimatize. But yeah, that's
Mhm.
the one thing I would give in preparation. But then when you actually get to the tournament, I think my one of my coaches, Nico Gleed, when I was at the Youth Nevza last year for under 20s, the piece of advice he gave me when I went against the Norway team, which went on to win the thing, was focus on the serve pass. And I always think it's helpful when you're going into a tournament to focus on like one team goal that you want to work on. So, for example, me and Tom right now, that would be again serve pass. Do we want to win that battle every time? Can we pass better them and can we serve them out of the game? Um, which the more times you put an opponent out of system, the more likely you are to get a free ball and you'll win that rally.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and then the last and I think most important thing would be communication between you know your teammate, especially on court and off. Like, don't just play the game and then go sit in a corner and then come out when it's time to play the next game. Like, socialize, be with your partner, speak about it. What went well in our last game? What can we improve on? What do we want to bring into training? What do we want to bring from training into our game? And like, how to effectively communicate with your partner on court as well. Because, it might be a case if you had to discuss it beforehand to be like, hey, what's the best way for me to talk to you about this on court? Or how do you best take feedback? Because I'm a strong believer in holding your partner to a high standard when you're on court, and I love to be held to a high standard myself. I don't think anyone enjoys being lazy or slacking away. Um, so I think that communication and actually how to communicate is a big one for me, especially in tournaments when uh, it's in the third set and you get served down the middle and you both look at each other and the ball just drops. And it's
Mhm.
how you move on to the next point. You're like, okay, next time, my middle, my line, etc. If the wind's going this way, keep calling it out. Wind's going to change. But yeah, make sure you keep talking to your partner, keep talking things up, especially in the middle of a rally. Okay, you make an out system dig, and your partner's running to get it. Don't just say go go go. Say give me to the pin, give me antenna, give me in the middle. Put it on, put it off. Give them information when they're looking up at the sky, so they know what's going on in the court. But yeah, I think that's all for training. But leading into the physio side of things, more off the court,
Mm.
which is your speciality. Do you want to tell me a bit about how you would maintain strength and power?
Yeah. So, the kind of strength and conditioning side of things, we're kind of in the early part of the season. Um, the gym bro stuff where we're lifting heavy, building muscle, that has to be done way before. That has to be done in the preseason. Um, there's a famous quote, the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The second best time is today, right?
Yeah, I love
So
that.
taking it back to GCSE PE, we have that triangle where the base is the physical ability to do something, right? So like if I want to I need to be able to have the shoulder mobility to twist my shoulder this way if I want to hit
Yeah,
that shot. And
yeah,
then the middle level is that technical ability where I'm actually executing it in game and I can actually be on court and then do it with the ball rather than just with like a resistance band in the gym. And then that top level is strategic when we're actually applying it in game. So we have these two tools in our toolbox. We have the high line and we have the cut shot, and then strategic is when we're deciding when we do that, right? So really focusing on that base level where we're building our body's ability to be in the positions that we need to be in for the game. So that all that has to be done preseason, right?
yeah, yeah,
Um, but while we're in season, we're maintaining strength and power, like you said. We're not focusing on heavy gains. We're doing kind of low volume, high intensity, explosive movements, developing speed and intent. A lot of it has to do with the neurological pathways. Um, so 70% of initial gains are seen in the rate of muscle fibers firing rather than actual physical gains. So it's the intent is really important where we're training our muscles to be able to be coordinated enough and be reactive and have have a good ability to react to stimuli that are
yeah.
coming from the external side. I think
Do you mind if I add in something there, just real
yeah, go
quick?
for it, go for it. Yeah.
So one question I get asked is like I've got friends in Nottingham who I take to the gym to teach them, so how to use certain machines, technique,
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
One thing they ask is how do I train for an
Mhm.
event, for a sport, and
Yeah.
how do you get that mental resistance? And something that I always imagine is as we are volleyball athletes, we want to train for our sport. A lot of the motions we do in the gym will replicate what we're actually doing in game. And if you're doing those squats and you're struggling, I always find it helpful to mentally picture yourself like the
Mm.
was it Eddie Hall, the powerlifter? He
Yeah.
says the way he broke his record is to envision he's not lifting half a ton, he's lifting a car off his wife and kids. And I think the same
Mm.
logic applies to volleyball is if you're lifting, it's not I'm lifting this weight on my back.
Mhm.
It's in the third set and I'm getting up from a dig
Yeah.
to lift up and hit that ball and I'm trying to go up as fast as possible. And I think that's yeah, mentally picturing how the exercise you're doing in the gym correlates to what you'll be doing in game is a really helpful way to link that muscle memory and
Yeah,
coordination.
exactly.
But yeah, sorry. Anyway, leading back to what you were saying.
No, that's okay. The visualization, I think, is a very key part of sports psychology. I did a lot of I did my undergrad in sports science. Psychology was not exactly my strong suit, but maybe one day we'll get someone who's good at sports psychology to come in and talk about that side of things.
100%.
Um, but yeah, linking that muscle memory is really important. One thing that I always find that I'm lacking out on, I need to hop on a treadmill or something because it's like the second day of the tournament. Last year I did the quad as well, 2 days of boxing, 2 days of club champs.
Mm,
Day two of club champs, my legs were shot. I was gasping for oxygen. So conditioning is a very key aspect, especially if you want to take the sport to the higher level. You need to
yeah,
simulate the match demands. We're not just doing cardio, we're not running marathons. We're being explosive very many times over a very long period of time. So it's that repeated sprint ability, where we're hopping on a bike, 10 seconds on, 10 seconds off, 10 seconds on, 10 seconds off.
mm,
Um, and so I keep saying things that are overlooked, right? I think a lot of
yeah,
people, when they're in the gym, they overlook mobility and recovery. You need to
yeah,
stay loose. You need to stretch out your muscles. You need to be able to be strong. You need to be able to be in that position before you're able to be strong in that position, right? So make sure you don't skip out. Oh, quote it, chisel it.
yeah, just that man. I'm getting on my wall. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so nutrition and hydration obviously very important as well. You need to prepare your body and there's no output with no input, right? So make sure you've got all those things inside your training cycle.
Yeah,
And then yeah, so again, in season training focuses strength maintenance, power and speed, mobility and recovery. injury prevention, lots of isometric stuff. Like again, like you said with the training stuff, there's a lot of boring stuff. We're not always lifting one rep maxes. We're not always jumping with a hex bar or a
Yeah.
trap bar. We're doing wall sits for 3 minutes to, protect our joints. We're doing slow, controlled, descending movements, eccentric movements that are, you know, giving our muscle that stimulus to be able to be strong and ultimately prevent those injuries from the get-go rather than dealing with the injuries as they happen. We're strengthening our joints, making sure that our body is bulletproof. Our shoulders and our knees are the most important parts for volleyball players. So low volume, high intensity, 1 to 3 sessions a week. We're focused on quality over quantity. So that's in the lead up to the tournaments now. And we're deloading sessions based on our competition schedule, right? So like you said earlier, we don't want to tire ourselves out. We want to kind of taper off and decrease our training load as we're getting ready for tournaments.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our little training tips advice. Obviously, George with the coaching side, me with the S&C side. We've got a couple of questions. Well, one question really from our comments in our on our last episode. Thank you again for all the viewers who listened in, all the people who commented. Thank you for all the support. Really good turnout for the first episode. Yeah.
Yeah, go support us on Instagram. We now have an official Instagram account
Mhm.
at Sandy Side Up Podcast, which will be giving out polls, questions, and that's where you can engage with us and get your questions featured on the podcast,
Mhm.
as well as reach out if you would like to come on for an interview or those sort of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, give us a follow.
I'll have the link pop up here. Boop. Right
Perfect.
here. That's our Instagram handle. Go follow there. Okay. Yeah, cool. So Owen, one of our mates from Portugal, he said we need weekly power rankings. I don't think I think we have that already on the UK Beach Tour site. That's the power rankings that you need right there. We mentioned it on the last episode as well. Zhang7399 commented, I don't know anything about volleyball, but I'm hooked. Hope hope
Love you,
you're still
Zach.
watching. Hope you're still watching this episode to keep you on the hook. John Butler, my partner, he says, "Don't worry, mate. I'll get you the egg mayo Scotch egg and chunky milk combo you always want. Get yourself a partner like John. Yeah, that's that's a W partner right there." And then the last comment we have, I have a question that I wonder if you can answer in the next video from John Lane 2257. Why is it in volleyball that one member of the team often has a different kit to the rest of the team? First of all, we're on the UK Beach Tour. People will wear whatever they want, but I think this is an indoor question.
Yeah.
Um, just to answer your question, that's a defensive specialist who is allowed to come on and off the court without requesting an official substitution. So they're only allowed to play in the back row, and that's why they're in the different kit, is so the reffing officiating team, it's easier for them to keep track of this player coming on and off the court.
Yeah.
So yeah, no more indoor talk. Our last section, we've got a little fun section for George.
Oh God.
So George has no idea, has not prepared for this, but we have a guess the player section. So I've got 5 clues. They go from hard to easy. And then at each level, you're going to give me a guess of a player. If you're correct, we'll end the game there, but I'll tell you the rest of the clues anyway. Yeah,
These are players on the UKB team. These aren't international players.
I don't know. Guess the player.
Oh, okay,
Guess the
okay,
player. Okay. So
okay.
so they'll go from hard to easy. If you're right, we'll stop, but I'll tell the rest of the clues anyway. If you're wrong, then we'll keep going, okay?
Okay,
And
okay.
then maybe next week you do the same for me, and we just this could be our way to end the podcast.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
All right. So clue number one. This player was part of the first team to win a beach world championship for their country in 2019.
I was even playing volleyball in 2019. Okay, 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 okay,
Any guess? Any
okay,
guess?
okay.
Their
Bauer Musen.
countries. Who? Bauer Musin.
Bauer Musen.
No. Okay.
Okay, that
So
was a
that's your
dirty
that's
guess.
your that's your first clue. It's one player, not a team. There's one
Okay,
player.
okay,
Okay.
okay.
Okay. In 2019, along with this player's championship, this player also won Team of the Year, Best Defensive Player, and Best Setter on the beach tour.
Best setter.
Hmm.
Soren?
Close. Actually,
Close.
no, not close. Not close.
Okay.
He did. Storm did win Best Defensive Player of the Year that year, I believe.
Okay.
And it was Andy Mole who won Best Setter. So,
Okay.
you got
Oh, so it's
you're
a
on the
okay.
you're on the right track.
Okay.
Um, okay, so originally on the right, this player is now a left-sided defender who made the switch in 2016.
See, I was gonna go with Laura Ludwig, but she's now retired, so clearly not.
Hmm.
Oh, shoot. Defenders of the year. Oh, it's Kirsten Dunst.
Ooh, unfortunately not. All right, you have two more clues. Okay. All right, has since played. She made this switch to the right side, to the left side, sorry, because she has since played with two different left-handers.
Jeez. Okay.
So she's a defender and she has played with two left-handers.
Oh, okay. My ball knowledge from before my time is a
Hmm.
struggle. I want to go with the Brazilian defender, but no. Oh.
She plays for Canada and has recently won an Olympic silver medal.
Okay, I mean that's the only Canadian team I really know, Brandy and Melissa. So it's got to be
Yeah,
Melissa.
well done. Good job, good job, good job. Okay,
Oh
well
my
done.
God. Please
The
don't
last
flame me in the
clue.
comments, man. It took me way too long.
So yeah, that brings us to the end of this week's episode. Bit of a short one as we didn't have a guest, but hope you all enjoyed. And as always, send us your clips. We didn't get any clips from Cardiff, I guess, because our account hasn't been up and running.
Fully launched, yeah.
Um, yeah, but hopefully we get that as a weekly thing as well, like a highlight
Yeah.
and a lowlight of the week of the tournament. But yeah, until next time, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll
And we'll see you on the
see you
flip
on the
side.
flip side.